we have the inimitable Supriya Sule, known for her skills as a parliamentarian, which has won her the Sansad Ratna. She is a daughter fighting a battle for her father's legacy at the helm of a regional party, which has always been considered a strong political force in Maharashtra's politics. The working national president of the NCP SP will be in conversation with Vinaya Deshpande and Vikas Doot about the National Congress Party's legacy, battleground Baramati, and the NCP's electoral performance.
Supriya Sule, thank you so much for your time today and for joining the Hindu for the first poll arena on the Maharashtra Assembly elections. It's an honor and a pleasure to host you today for this discussion. And I'm joined by Vikas Doot, who's our economics editor. As the topic says, this is about party legacy, battleground Baramati, and electoral performance. We are talking at a time when the last election was the Lok Sabha election, where the party won 8 of the 10 Lok Sabha seats it contested on. Do you think that that has changed the environment in which the cadres are fighting this election?
First of all, I'd like to thank you, Hindu, for inviting me here today. Hindu is one newspaper I read at length every day of my life. Because, you know, I'm slightly old-fashioned about this. We grew up in a home where the first thing you did, like brushing your teeth, having your first cup of tea, the newspaper is not an optional thing. Right. So it is immediately brush your teeth, have your tea, and immediately, where's the newspaper? You know, we are that kind of a family. And every day around 7:45 and 8, if my parents and me are in the same city, I do go and see them. And the first thing is we discuss 2-3 editorials. Of course, Marathi newspaper, one of our Mr. Pawar's and my favorite editor. So we discuss what he has written and what he's thinking. Then we move on and then we have a long discussion about what Hindu has reported today. Because journalism is something very, very seriously, which I even take even today. Politics, unfortunately, like all you said, is battleground, legacy, very big English words. But I take my work beyond all these words into serious policy making. And that's why I like Hindu, because there are very less ads in it, so I'm not distracted. I don't take too much time to be distracted. So I stay focused in the newspaper, in the news item. I don't always agree with a lot of your issues, but I love the way Hindu writes. And what I'd urge people, I think the larger thing is, please read, read, and read. We have all lost the flair. And what's still beautiful about Hindu is you still have those long articles of 1,000 words just flowing. It's like romancing with the language. So I just request the Hindu to please continue this legacy. And thank you for not having those half papers, because I don't know whether to hold a cup of tea, hold the newspaper, that half flap is flying away. And you know, we grew up reading. I mean, whatever little English that I know, I give entire credit to Times of India, Indian Express, and to the Hindu, because we grew up reading these newspapers every day of our lives. I mean, Diwali, Dasara, the day there's no newspaper, my whole family doesn't know what to do for 1 hour of that day. We're all lost. Yeah. You know, it's like 1 hour of our time. So I really congratulate you. I like the balanced, and I like, because I learn from you. I learn from the Hindu something every day of my life. So please make sure you don't lose the academic quotient and soul of your newspaper. That's my ask for this interview today.
That's excellent
Sai,
feedback
thank you
coming
so
from
much.
you, ma'am. And of course, we'll try. I mean, we would also like to understand some of the issues that you don't agree with us when we write.
No.
But
see, it's a democracy. So there are some things we must agree to disagree.
Yeah, of course.
And talking about the Maharashtra's election, of course, Maharashtra's election, it's a hot potato. So every state is actually interesting. For me, we are all like political animals. So we love every election. It brings out something new, something to learn with success and failure. And after, like you rightly asked, that when we fought our election exactly a year ago, if I remember, where was I standing? There was no party, there was no symbol. So Amol Kole, my colleague, and me would ask each other, so what do you think? What symbol should we take? And in Maharashtra, it's a very common symbol. Kabbashi means a cup and a saucer, which is used for all Gram Panchayat elections. So he told me, it's a very popular song. You take that. I said, okay, what will you take? He said, I think should I take an auto rickshaw? Should I take a fan? And we used to sort of actually joke about it at some point because we were done with it because everything was taken away from us. We had nothing more to lose. So the fight was a lot easier last time because इससे ज़्यादा क्या लेके जाएंगे? और लड़ेंगे तो जरूर. We had decided that we are going to win. I mean, we are going to fight. The winning, the outcome was not important for us last time. The fight was far more important for us the last time. And overwhelmed. I mean, I won't even say I'm being candid about it, but I'm being very honest. I wasn't even sure if I was going to make it. A lot of people used to come and give feedback. Some would say, no, it's going well. Some would say there's a silent wave. Some would say it looks impossible. So, when you're a candidate, I mean, I just met Prithviraj ji outside and he was looking quite run down compared to what I'm looking. So I'm like, 3 months ago, I looked like this and you look like me. Now the roles. So, I think some banter, you have to enjoy the process because eventually it's the larger goal that I feel right now disappointed with whatever is going around us there is no great policy discussion in this election, which I'm missing out. I mean, challenge me of what you're going to do. I will challenge you of what have you achieved. Nobody's talking about the economy. Nobody's talking about data-based evidence, women's safety. None of that is going on. As a matter of fact, day before yesterday, somebody had come to interview me. And after the long interview, I said, now it's my time to ask you rapid fire. It's the most popular thing happening right now. He said, yes. I said, I'll take names of 5 candidates. Tell me which symbol they're contesting on. He said, I can't do that. It's a fact. It's very, very unfortunate from both sides. I'm not just criticizing people in power. It works both ways. But it's very unfortunate that Maharashtra has seen such a lot of churning. And I really am waiting for the dust to settle down to have some clarity, even for the voter, at which way are we really headed? And I take, as you asked me about several questions about where we were last year, where are we today, what is the outcome, is the cadre feeling better? Clearly, yeah, there's so many fathers, as we all know. So obviously this time we were going to fight tickets. We sort of, made a small little note on our website and I said, whoever wants to apply can apply. And over 1,500, I think 1,650 or something applications came. And we're like, oh my God, we're in the game kind of a thing. So it was very reassuring that it was a mixed bag. We saw a lot of new people wanting to come, a lot of youngsters. See, there is no dearth of talent in this country. I'm convinced nobody is dispensable. We are all indispensable. And there is no dearth of talent. So I feel so good about it that sometimes the good part of this churning is that we are seeing a lot of new faces, even in our organization. Why should I speak about others? It's better to start
That
from
is something
yourself.
that we saw for Lok Sabha as well, where,
Completely.
one of your candidates, I think Dindori, was a school teacher.
Absolutely.
Who campaigned without any resources whatsoever. Is the same trend something that we are seeing right now for Vidhan Sabha as well?
It's a much mixed bag compared, because when we started for Lok Sabha, there were zero expectations. So even if we didn't win a single seat, we were okay by it because people are sort of just running us down. Inka to is game over. What are we wasting time? They've just barely found. Then that Tutari, the symbol issue. We only had problems every day of our life. And if there was no problem that day, we'd like, really? How did today go like this? So it was like a flat day. But not that it was bringing any good news. There was no good news coming except on the day of the result.
Even now, the battle in the court of law continues. So it isn't.
That's become a new normal now. Now first, every time if your car has an accident the first time, you're devastated. The second time you said, then you've learned something. So I think this has become our new normal. That we have to go to court, you have to go to election commission, you have to go to collector, you have to go to you have to do 100 things all the time. And that's how unfortunately, the central government's dispensation is. He's fighting now. Some income tax cases started. He's come on our side. Some ED notice has come. This has become a new normal for us, which keeps us entertained and our lawyers most happy because we are entertaining them as well.
But Tai, when this happened with NCP, it was unthinkable because it wasn't something that we had seen parallelly happening anywhere else. People talked of Shiv Sena, but that was a completely different case. People talked of Baba Saheb's legacy. Baba Saheb Thackeray is no more. Here, it was Sharad Pawar who started the party. It was he who brought it all together. And then, for someone else to stand up and claim that the party belongs to him, that the name belongs to him, that the symbol belongs to him, that it is granted. From the time it happened to one Lok Sabha election, to a Vidhan Sabha election now, how do you turn and look at this whole turn of events?
Well, I won't want anybody else in the world to go through it. It's not something which is even exciting. It's a colossal waste of energy, time, and brain space, because you're constantly fighting something which is not even following anything by the book. That's the unfortunate part of it. And I don't want my worst, I don't believe in enemies, but I don't want my worst enemy to go through it, because there's nothing by the book. And I really am a little old fashioned. I like to go by the book. So for me, I wouldn't want anybody else. And it's unfortunate that the Delhi dispensation, as I call them, Adrushya Shakti. Adrushya Shakti means a power which is invisible. You don't see it. So it's Adrushya Shakti, A-S. Adrushya Shakti, that's what it means. It means in Marathi. So this entire thing operates in a way which has no rules left anymore. That's the sad part of it. And now either you succumb to it and you give in, or you fight and say, come what may, dekha jayega. Win or lose, but you go down as a warrior. And that's where I think we feel good about the whole situation, that we are not giving up. And the reason I want to take this fight to its logical end, because a lot of time the court says, you got a new symbol, you're in a much better space. It's not about being in a better space. Just because something better happens to you, you don't forget your past. The point is, it happened to us. This is not, I don't want any political party to go through what we went through.
But
So
does
let's
the
put the
same
rules up
saga
again.
continue in Baramati and right now?
It's not the same saga. It's completely different, because now lines are drawn, no? Last year they were not drawn. Now we are in two completely different parties now. Last year that wasn't the case.
But for the Lok Sabha, when this happened, that was the first time when a family member was facing a family member in the family bastion. There was still some rawness to it. There was still, a lot of emotional context to it. I remember when I had interviewed at that time, you had said that we do not talk family. And,
I still don't.
And yet, we are seeing that now it is the uncle and the nephew who are in the fight. And it's a very clear, open fight now.
Oh, yeah.
So-
It was never Noora Kusti with us ever. People just speculated. People kept saying, "Arey, setting hai, setting hai." Koi setting waiting nahi hota life mein. Mera to nahi hota. I don't know about the others. From my end, I can tell you, I have complete clarity. I'm never confused and I'm never compromised.
Ma'am, there have been some interesting, dichotomy compared to like you said, that last time things were pitched against the two camps, and now the lines are clearly drawn according to you.
Absolutely.
But if you see some of the sounds coming from that camp, Ajit Pawar has been, for instance, saying things like, last time आपने साहब को लोकसभा में खुश किया, अभी इस बार मुझे खुश करो. Then they are saying, he's also made some sounds about, how he sort of regrets alienating his family and his sister. And do you feel that there's some kind of an attempt at rapprochement or at cooling tempers, if not with you, but at least among voters? Here, don't be so angry with me this time.
Your question only says all the answers. What did you just say? You said that it's not necessarily with me, it's with the voters.
Right.
So I don't think I really have to reply to this question at all. Your question only has the reply. And the other thing is that now my whole point is, election is not about making you and me happy. It's about the larger good of the policy. So you can't take it to your kitchen or your drawing room. The election is far beyond that. I never took my Lok Sabha election to my drawing room. I was very clear about it. Whatever he said, I did not reply to a single statement that he made, because I didn't want to take it to my drawing room. And my fight is not with him at all.
Right.
My fight is with the BJP, with the policies that they do. I fight with them every day in parliament. So there was nothing new about it. Their policies, be it about farmers, women's safety, the way they run governments, the way they intimidate people, the way they use agencies, and even on larger, what they did at the Waqf board. You may agree, you may disagree. That's not what I'm saying. The point is the Joint Parliamentary Committee only came because of extreme pressure from all of us. I fought the most for it.
Right.
My only point was not just a fight. Today you're doing it to Wafbot. Tomorrow they'll do it to any of us. Tomorrow they'll come into our homes and start claiming things. It doesn't work like that. My point in that thing was that you take everybody along, make a Joint Parliamentary Committee, and let that to take a decision. And you're seeing what's happening. Today's newspaper has carried a story that a lot of people from the committee are going to the speaker's office and telling them that the chairman is very, very biased. The committee is, what is the idea of a joint parliamentary committee? Is to have, in a vibrant democracy, every voice has to be heard. Can't work the way you want it to work. So it's very unfortunate. And my fight is about this. Like the day this Waqf board thing happened, Ajit Pawar's party was not even represented. They have one member who was absent. They did not say what they wanted in parliament. Either way, this way or that way, why are you elected to parliament? To make a statement, right? So there are issues on GST. I mean, yesterday I was in Baramati and we had a meeting with all the businessmen and the Vyaparis of the entire Baramati city, and we were discussing issues related to GST. The point is, why is the GST voice of Maharashtra not heard in Delhi, in the GST Council? It's very, very worrying. And I'm not criticizing somebody. This is a fact. Why are we not debating these issues? So I felt that I don't want to get into a banter with Ajit Pawar. Not at all. I'm looking at him as an integral part of an alliance, which, according to me, is not doing a good job, because onions, milk, soya bean, cotton, who is getting the right price? Nobody is. Immense, the price rise, food inflation. These are serious issues. Why can't we? I'm happy to debate them with anybody over there.
There is some sense in the current Mahayuti equations, they're always evolving, obviously. In the current equation, there's some sense that the Ajit Pawar NCP is being sidelined to some extent. And does that sort of create room for a post-poll reconciliation in the family and the party?
Well, it's not my business how who's treated in their alliance, because it's an alliance they've all done with a free will. So what challenges or successes they have is for them to worry about or to celebrate about.
But we are open to consider.
No, I don't think so. Why would we worry? Because we are very comfortably. See, I'm never overconfident in life. By nature, I'm like that. I always like to play it under more than over. This is the beauty, My Lok Sabha election, the two personalities were fighting. One is overconfident and one is underconfident. So I always said that the only person who understands that constituency is Sharad Pawar. Nor did Ajit Pawar know what he was doing, and I didn't know. We were both. He was overconfident of winning and I was underconfident. And I've said that many times on record.
But Tai, Sharad Pawar made a statement yesterday saying that, he will not, hinting at retirement from politics.
Not from politics.
From electoral politics. But from electoral politics, he has anyway not fought in the election this time. So, on the background of Ajit Pawar saying that, he should now retire, he should now give chance, he should let the younger generation handle responsibility. Is that a statement that comes in respect to such an appeal?
Not at all, because first of all, a person like Sharad Pawar eats, breathes, thinks, lives politics. He's an old-fashioned politician, which is like, I've seen many people, like I remember, if I've seen Atalji very closely, I have seen Mulayam Singh ji, Lalu ji, Mr. Pawar, that whole generation by 24/7 only like to do politics. And politics means they're not just scheming all the time, like most people say. They're doing something connected to their job all the time. And clearly, whatever little I understood of his statement was that he will not fight an election, means Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. That doesn't mean he's giving up politics. I don't think he can ever live without politics. That's his biggest tonic in the world, according to me. And he enjoys it the most. I mean, like I always joke and tell people, Ajit Pawar, me are all parivarvads. He's the original one who genuinely is absolutely passionate about what he does. And that's why he never gets tired, because he's doing what he wants to do. And he's always done what he wants to do. So I think that's what he is. I mean, what Ajit Pawar wanted was something completely. He wanted him to retire because he wanted an alliance, which Mr. Pawar was not willing to do. And Mr. Pawar is very happy to fight all the time. And his whole career has been like that. And I see many people of that generation who have, I mean, of even today of his generation may not be in a position of power, but are still fighting for causes. I mean, my aunt's husband, N.D. Patil, fought till he was 93. I mean, I remember he was like, I think 90, and I saw a glimpse of him on television. He was sitting at a toll naka. I'm like, what is he doing? He has gone with a stick to the toll naka and fighting that we are not going to give. I called my aunt. I'm like, he's 90. What is he doing? She says, can you tell him anything? I said, nobody can. So tough. Let him enjoy it. So I think they really drive their passion. So it's not about retirement. And I'm of that opinion that nobody should ever retire. Everybody should. I tell teachers who retire at 60 that please do not retire. You have so much talent. Do anything near your home. Please don't give up, because the only way to keep yourself going is to work. The minute any of us give up work, I think we'll have challenges. And I don't think that's any of us who drive our passion would like that.
Ma'am, you quite passionate about some of the policy issues and you exactly just now said that substantive policy issues are
I
not
love
being
policy.
debated, which is a sad commentary on our politique. You talked about for instance GST. You wrote a passionate letter to the finance minister on life insurance, health insurance, and that is now in fact being reviewed. Do you find that do voters recognize this, and do voters who recognize this go out and vote? Because you see urban voters in Bombay, for instance, we barely struggle to get 50% of them out to vote, even though they might.
43% last
Yeah.
time.
So
Maybe we are also to be blamed for it sometimes. I feel that they also don't like this banter. I mean, why go far? Why talk about other people? I always prefer to give myself as an example, or my own family as an example. My mother's a classic example who stopped watching any television news channels anymore. She says, I just get fatigued by seeing it. This is because I don't see any serious discussion. It's not about the channel, it's how society is involved doing. I'm not particularly talking about a medium. She thinks it's too fast, it's too non-serious. And she says, why are we not discussing the core issues which we want to hear about? So there are a lot of people in the society who take a lot of things seriously, but probably choose to walk away because the seriousness lacks. Like, you see the speeches that people are making, or sometimes, there are mistakes that are shown that people are making. My mother finds it very offensive. She said, and I remember, I always connect my mother's comment to Arunji. Arunji used to always say that aap dikhana band kar dijiye, ye bolna band kar de. I remember Arunji saying that so many times. So even if he was in the BJP, Sushma ji, Arunji were people we looked up to when we were young parliamentarians. I mean, we learned from all of them. We may have ideological differences, but they were wonderful parliamentarians. So, that whole thing, that personal connect, to rise above politics for the larger issues of the nation. I think that entire culture has had a shift in this BJP 2.0. The original BJP, even today, is very, very civilized, very well informed, and they're most wonderful people. This 2.0's aggression is actually tiring the country.
do you see that changing in our
Oh,
lifetime?
yeah, I see it in Parliament. Visibly see it in Parliament. Because, whenever somebody from BJP spoke, we used to rush to see them speak because we learned so much from them. I mean, I remember they had 3 rows when UPA was in power. I remember UPA 2 was my first year in Lok Sabha. And we used to see, oh my God, I mean, there used to be leaders and like, oh my God, how well they speak. It was sort of enamored. Even when Sushma ji used to speak as LOP, we would actually take notes that, oh my God, look at this point, how she has reached it. And then the banter between her and say Manmohan Singh ji, her and Pranab Da. My God, it was like a treat to watch Parliament. And today it gets so personal. I'm like, this is not why we are here. And then, sometimes it happens to us because we are a 2009 batch, which has tried to maintain that sanity of friendship and outside. So sometimes when we have a banter, people say, "Arey, bahar jaake aap dono chai piyoge, go there." It's not like that. You have to what your ideological differences are, have nothing to do with your personal decision. And the beauty of democracy is that you should be able to navigate through for a larger policy from both sides. And to run parliament is not our duty in the opposition. It's for people in power to make sure. And Kiran Rijiju is a breath of fresh air, I must admit. Because Kiran's been an old friend to all of us. So he walks across the aisle, he discusses things. See, what else does the opposition want? We also want the House to work. So slowly they're building, but he's again not that strong BJP who are screaming and shouting and bantering all the time. That's not parliament. So I miss the good parliament. I miss the good speeches.
Like coming back to Maharashtra politics, and this
Yeah,
is
we
a
had gone far
cliched
away to
question.
Delhi.
You know, it is a cliched question, but we would like to know your views because, as you rightly said, there's a lot of confusion among the voters. This is after 2019, this is the first assembly election where we will see that the two biggest regional forces that Maharashtra had are split,
Absolutely.
fighting against each other, fighting in an alliance which is akin to having strange bedfellows, also having fights within in an environment where there are other factors, maybe in the form of a Jarange Patil, maybe in the form of, say, a Raj Thackeray bringing out over 100+ candidates in whichever areas it might affect. How do you see this whole battle, and how do you see your party jostling through it for the first time in the state assembly elections?
Well, I have complete clarity on my ideology, so I'm never confused or anything. So I'm very, very clear that our Aghadi is 3 of us. We are all campaigning for all of each other's candidates. There is no selectiveness in candidates. So we are completely aligned about our policies. We have worked together. We have delivered superior results when we were together. So we are. What confuses me sometimes is I see people from the BJP say that we, out of our other friends, we are selectively friends. You can't be, it's like saying slightly pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not. You can't be slightly pregnant. I mean, it's ridiculous for them to say, oh, he's our ally, but for this one candidate, I'm not going to campaign. How does it work like that? Or then they'll say, in that party, we are supporting these 2 candidates, the other 8 we are not. I mean, this is like a joke. I mean, I just feel that we're cheating this entire alliance, which is so selective. I feel you're cheating the people of Maharashtra. It is so full of so many contradictions. Then you're much better off with us. At least we are all aligned with each other. We have complete clarity. We may have few ambitious people who may have felt left out, which I respect because everybody wants to become an MLA. Nothing wrong in it. So it may be his aspirations have probably got crushed because of a larger alliance. And sometimes people do take a step back. Sometimes they don't. I mean, you have to just sometimes take your people along and go ahead.
So is there a broader understanding about those, friendly fights that, it's okay?
Listen, friendly fights is not something I would even want to discuss because I think once you've given your word to an alliance, where's the question of a friendly fight? So then you have to go by the official candidate, is my opinion. So all 3 of us are completely aligned. But we are not telling Sena that, these 2 candidates we don't like, so we are not campaigning. Come on, it's like a baby. It's like nursery, yeah. That, I don't like this lollipop of your color. Then I mean, please, this is serious policy making and an election. I mean, I'm surprised that I took BJP as a very serious party. And I'm feeling let down because, even if you have an opponent, you want a large-hearted opponent to fight for, yeah. And then when they make statements that, oh, one candidate of Ajit Pawar's, we will not. That's a joke. What is this? This is serious politics. How can you talk like this?
Or even with respect to Mahim, we are seeing that.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm just appalled by the confusion, no clarity of thought. And BJP was one party which had complete clarity. I'm watching their ads on TV. What happened to corruption? What happened to price rise? Now it's like, again, it's so childlike, those ads. They are saying that, oh, this is a policy. If the government changes, no, this scheme will go. It's like a child, yeah. It's like, if you don't have this glass of milk, you're going to be punished. It doesn't work like that. This is policy making. This is not child's play. Yeah? Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan was started by Atalji. I'm intentionally giving a BJP example. When Manmohan Singh ji became the Prime Minister of this country, he continued the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Governance is not about I came, you came. It's not child's play. This is not kindergarten. This is India's democracy, Vidhan Sabha and Lok Sabha. They've made a mockery of it. Even that ad campaign is a mockery of India's democracy, if you ask. And there's this, and so many more. Even about the economy, what is happening in Maharashtra, the declining GDP that we've all, I'm sure Prithviraj Baba must have extensively spoken about it. But in that case, there is the FRBM Act, which again was brought in by Atalji for good fiscal management of every state. Now, when Manmohan Singh ji became the Prime Minister, we strengthened it. And we thank Atal ji for it. Now, just because the government changed, did we give up the FRBM Act and said, Jo marzi hai kharcha karo? No.
Continue.
I mean, it's too childish. It's like child's place. When I see those BJP ads, I'm appalled, yaar, ki thoda seriously le lo, yaar, politics. And I'm so sure that if Advani ji, Atal ji, or Sushma ji, or Arun ji were there, none of this would have happened. Trust me. I have so much faith in all of them. Yashwant Sinha ji, are all taller, larger than life leaders of India. So what if they were in the BJP? They were wonderful, cultured leaders.
Willing to listen.
Do you see that lack of narrative in the state
Absolutely.
politics right now?
Imagine you go to vote, then you're thinking in your mind, if I vote for them, they are not voting for this one, they are not supplying. What is this? You're putting fear psychosis in people. It's like a child's play. This is how my children also don't throw such tantrums, like the tantrums that are going in their alliance. We have complete, I'm not praising just ourselves, but we are very, very clear that all the three parties, whoever officially our candidates, we are at least holding each other. And we are not running some campaign that, oh, if we come, this will stop. No, the only thing, yes, we will stop when we come to power is crime against women. We will stop it. We will take law and order very seriously when we come to power. That's my commitment. Please record it and keep it.
Tai, today is also the first day when Rahul Gandhi is going to come to Maharashtra for starting the campaigning. In the evening, the three of you together have a Maharali. What are the expectations that people should have from your manifesto? What are the issues that you will bring to the fore in these elections?
Well, first of all, when you go for an exam, the paper will be given to you only at 6 o'clock. So I'm not telling you anything before that. Point number one. There are no leakages of papers in our government. That is in this government. They leak papers. We don't leak papers. But on a larger, that's on a lighter note. But what I definitely like to say that we are very committed. And that's what I keep telling you. For me, what's missing in this entire election when I'm going through the process was, I enjoyed the process of, interviewing and the excitement of what's happening on the field. That was all wonderful. Diwali, okay, but now suddenly there's a lull. Like, why are we not debating price rise? Why are we not arguing inflation, unemployment, even, so many issues that we need to, and I'm happy to debate. If you call people from that government and have a debate, I'll be happy to participate in it. That call them, call us, and let's have a nice debate. Why can't we change the format of our interviews? And
you're giving us an idea for the next conclave. We will organize.
Absolutely, you should. And not on a policy, not that banter ki tumne ye kiya, humne kiya. No, take GST as a bill and call both the sides and let there be a debate.
And not just about freebies.
Yeah, because it's not about a banter about tu meme. That's not what I'm saying. A very serious. Both sides have a lot of serious, good academic people. So why can't we discuss policy making? Because this election is not about who goes to live in Varsha. Doesn't kahi maine nahi rakhta. That's not going to change your life. But the person who goes to Varsha has to be empathetic, honest, and love Maharashtra and be a competitive leader who will want to be the first state in the country. That competitiveness, unless it lacks.
But are you saying that, there's no discussion about who's going to go to Varsha? Because in the last few days, we also saw that Uddhav Thackeray had appealed that there should be a face for the Mahavikas Aghadi, for the Chief Minister's
As
candidate.
you're aware, we fought the least number of seats for Lok Sabha, same thing here. And Mr. Pawar has very clearly said, we are not in the race. We want to make sure that we come to power and not power for the sake of power, to actually impact your lives for a better life for everybody who lives in Maharashtra on a competitive edge and a healthy competition with all the other states to deliver superior results for the state and the country and growth. Why would you want the GDP of Maharashtra goes down? It's going to affect national numbers as well. So it's not that in isolation something else is. And we're not an insulated economy anyway. We're a global player. Today, the Trump election is going to impact India. While I was coming, I was following the elections, wondering, now what happens to the Paris Agreement, then what happens? There are going to be lots of things in policy making, good and bad. See, every government, even the present dispensation, every government doesn't do all bad things. I mean, I'm not immature enough to see that. You know how they say, 70 saal mein kuch nahi hua. I always ask that question, Bhaiya, tum kiski school mein padhe? Which school did you study in? You obviously got the right to stand here and speak in all the 3 languages, your local language, Hindi and English, is because somebody schooled you, no? Then I always ask, 70 saal mein kuch nahi hua. I said, wow, you came in a bullock cart to Delhi. It's a question. Did you study in darkness? No, I had electricity in my. Of course, you had electricity. I mean, it's too immature to say that 70 saal mein kuch nahi hua. You know, I mean, we need to get out of that narrative. It's boring. Or even relationships with America. It's like nobody ever went to America before this dispensation went. I mean, please. President Obama's relationship with Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was a story for the globe. That was the first time when India actually got close to America. And President Obama to say that one of the finest economists in the world is my guru, Manmohan Singh ji. So, you know, stories are built. It's nice sometimes to be a little humble. You know.
Thank you, giving us so much of perspective. You know, there's so much of audience as well who's interested in asking questions. There's one question, I'm afraid we don't have the time, but there's one question that, you know, Suchitra would like to take.
Good morning, ma'am. So one of the biggest accusations which Sharad Pawar ji has made against the Ajit Pawar faction is that he's misleading voters by using the clock symbol. And there is a Supreme Court case also in it. So how are you making voters aware of the distinction between that, in spite of the clock symbol being used by the other faction?
You know, the Election Commission has given it to him. So we have no option but to survive, which we did in the Lok Sabha 1. And second is he's supposed to, his party, not he himself, but his party, every time they put their symbol, they have to put it that it's under litigation, which they don't do. As a matter of fact, as we talk, my man is fighting in Supreme Court as we talk. It's listed for today because it's insulting they are not following rules which have been told. It hasn't been an order. You see any of their holdings? Do you see? You see their symbol, and below their symbol, they'll never write it. Or they'll write it in such a tiny, tiny way that you can't even read it. It doesn't even register in your head. So the whole point is that the Supreme Court said that to me. That, you know, you've got a much better symbol. You've done so well. What's the problem? The problem is not about the new symbol or the party or anything. The basic root cause of the problem. That they took the party and the symbol away in an undemocratic way. So if we leave this case open-ended, anybody in power today, nobody is permanently in power. It's like a revolving door. Sometimes you're there, sometimes we are there. But I don't want somebody, for me to leave this open-ended, that some other Supriya Sule will have to sit and waste her productive time in the Supreme Court endlessly, who is actually should be sitting down and making policy. Or just not me, anybody. Why should any political party, you want to start a political party, you have differences, go to Election Commission, fill a form, and you'll get a party. What is this whole idea of taking what constitution? It's about the constitution of NCP. It's the constitution of India. Otherwise, anybody can get up and come. Tomorrow, I can come to your house and say your house belongs to me. Would you allow me in? Of course not. You should fight me back and say, stop bullying. Unfortunate part in India is there is a big bully in this country who scares you. If you are fearful, you stand behind him. If you fight him, see what happens. It's not that hard to fight a bully, actually, because a bully is actually scared and insecure. That's why he or she is a bully.
Supriya ji, on that note, I mean, it's always a pleasure to listen to you in Parliament as well as in person. And of course, me and Vinay and our audience, I'm sure, could pick your brains a lot more if we had more time. But given that you have multiple engagements, and we would like to thank you for spending precious time with us.
I would always say yes to the Hindu.
Yes.
I have an agenda.
Much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.